history and habits of coyotes very thoroughly. And you know, it looks like these are some of the most incredible predators on the planet. Coyotes can find prey anywhere, from an arid desert to an ice age. They can adapt to anything and make use of any circumstances. And here's why. Imagine you need to protect something. Most likely, you'll set up a strong fence with secure gates, put up some building nearby, and it'll work. Unless you're trying to protect the chicken coop from coyotes. Because that's the first and most obvious fact: they can dig. Coyotes make tunnels to drag unsuspecting prey through them. But that'll hardly surprise anyone. After all, foxes also know how to dig to get to their prey. But that's not the full extent of coyotes' hunting skills. Evolution made these animals into cunning predators that can move without making a sound. If a coyote ends up in a place where he needs to be as careful as possible and remain unnoticed, he can tiptoe. Yeah, I was also surprised to find this out. But it looks like coyotes can really do that. Anything to make as little noise as possible. Sometimes coyotes, like any other animals, are limping, but this doesn't mean they have some problems with their legs. For example, you might watch a coyote limp, but when the prey comes into view, the injury miraculously heals, just in time for the coyote to quickly go on the offensive and attack the unsuspecting prey. Yeah, like I said, they're pretty damn smart. However, this is only one of the theories. The coyote might actually be injured and is simply reducing stress to the injured leg so it can heal. Well, when food appears on the horizon, healing can wait. The coyote needs very little time to attack its prey, and he has a different approach for each target. When hunting small game, coyotes rely on their hearing and literally creep until they find something under the snow or in thick grass, and then they jump up, landing with their front paws on the poor creatures. There is also a theory that says coyotes can pretend to be friends with dogs, earn their trust, then lure them into their lair where a large pack of vicious coyotes is already waiting to eat the poor dog. I don't know if you've heard stories like that, but they're just a myth anyway. First, coyotes don't live in big packs, and second, they simply don't know how to deceive. They're not like humans. But they can really get in close contact with dogs, play together and all that. If you have cousins, you probably had to spend time with them as a kid. It's the same story with coyotes and dogs. But this does not mean coyotes are totally safe for dogs and actually eat only, I don't know, some gophers. They will actually eat any available prey they like. Now remember this thought, we'll get back to it. And yes, dogs are on the menu too. Coyotes not only attack small dog breeds when no one's around, sometimes this happens even when one or more humans are nearby, and no fences will help here. Leashes won't be of much help either because coyotes snatch dogs from leashes like fruit off a branch, or drag them from their own yards over 6-foot fences. Can you imagine if you had to make jumps like that when you decide to have a sandwich? That's not a problem for a coyote. This just blows my mind. Steve. Hey, Steve. Oh, seems like your comments worked. It probably took some time for coyotes to adapt to snatching dogs, but they basically know how to fit into absolutely any environment, and I'm not exaggerating. Coyotes even live in downtown Chicago, right among the skyscrapers. These animals have changed their behavior to coexist with humans. They switched to a nocturnal lifestyle, learned to cross busy roads, travel along the streets. Actually, they can do more than just that. For example, coyotes can recognize and remember which trucks in a research facility are for feeding versus vet visits. Of course, this is not the same as remembering the number of the bus you need to get on, but let's be honest, even humans can forget it, sometimes right after they've taken their seat. However, researchers who've studied coyotes had to choose vehicles very carefully not to accidentally spook the animals. As a matter of fact, when you read all these articles about coyotes, it starts to look like they're everywhere. Even if you aren't in North America or Central America where they live, the good news is that their huge range is still limited, but that doesn't mean coyotes can't be around while you might not even suspect it. These are remarkably clean animals that can be very stealthy. Not only because they walk very quietly, coyotes also leave a very small amount of debris behind. They often hide the remains of their prey and also bury their excrement. That is, coyotes can literally live under the porch of the house and its owners won't even know about it. So maybe they're behind your back? In the wild, the situation is slightly different. Yes, coyotes, like many other animals, bury their prey when they want to save it for later, but I didn't find information about them deliberately hiding their presence. And why would they? I'm sure coyotes feel more at ease outside the city, so they don't try to hide. Though they can pee on their prey so that no one else approaches it. It's quite a nasty trick, to be honest. Putting stickers on your groceries sounds way better. But even if coyotes have to hide and adapt to coexisting with humans in cities, they still live longer there. Most likely, the reason lies in the large amount of available food. In the end, there's a difference between chasing a rabbit or just climbing into the nearest trash bin. Also, coyotes are curious, even when they have to avoid humans. Perhaps that's why these predators have learned to get used to everything. No, even more than that, to absolutely everything. And they've even been doing it for thousands of years. During the Ice Age, when food became scarce, coyotes got smaller and survived. Unlike many other predators, when people began to exterminate wolves, the coyotes quickly realized they could expand their influence to almost the entire continent. They breed faster than wolves, adapt to the urban environment, interbreed with dogs, and all this happens so fast scientists don't have time to study coyotes. Do you remember what I said about their menu? Coyotes have a very diverse diet, assuming they can be very picky about their prey. But still, the list of possible prey is simply enormous. 90% of the coyote's diet consists of meat, and every animal is good enough for them. Bison, deer, elk, sheep, rabbits, birds, lizards, turtles, fish, rats, crustaceans, even insects. Is this not enough for you? What about bear cubs, harp seals, pelicans, rattlesnakes? And that's just the meat plate. Coyotes also eat blueberries, persimmons, peanuts, carrots, watermelons and melons, apples and pears, flour, beans, pet droppings, corn cobs, and ordinary grass. They seem to enjoy anything, and if a coyote likes something, he puts it on his long list of favorite foods. Along with a very flexible diet, coyotes remain very resourceful when it comes to food. After a fire breaks out in the forest, coyotes come there to eat. The fire destroys the bushes, which means small animals simply have nowhere to hide. Coyotes can swim if they need to, and this is one of the ways they hunt. This is not just the usual predator scheme like dive into the water and catch a fish. Coyotes can think and come up with schemes that are quite complex for animals. They follow young waterfowl in search of fish and amphibians to eat. Why don't coyotes just eat birds? I don't know, maybe they have fish days too. But water isn't just a source of food for coyotes, they can also swim to escape predators. Usually it's bears, cougars, wolves, mountain lions, stuff like that. After encountering a predator, the coyote prefers to run away, and some kind of water pool would only be helpful for him. Moreover, coyotes are excellent swimmers. Like many dogs, they see no problem in getting into the water and can swim up to 0.6 miles. Maybe they won't enjoy it, but they can do this. All these skills make the coyote a hunter that is simply impossible to eliminate. Coyotes survived all human attempts to exterminate them and spread throughout the continent. Even though some 6.5 million coyotes were killed between 1947 and 1956. 6.5 million! It'd certainly put any other animals on the brink of extinction, but not coyotes. They have a skill I would call breeding no matter what. When the population's at risk, the coyotes just have more pups. Usually they have 5 or 6 pups, but at times of extermination, litters go up to 12 or even 16 pups. That is, you can certainly reduce the number of coyotes in some area by 70%, but next summer, their population will fully recover. As if all that wasn't enough, coyotes have learned to work together with other species. I think I already mentioned cooperation with badgers. It's a rather weird choice of partner, but coyotes and badgers do hunt in pairs. Fast coyotes can chase fleeing animals while badgers can track down prey hiding underground. So together, they are one perfect predator from which it's actually impossible to hide. I mean, where would you go? Well, you could fly away. Oh wait, coyotes can jump and climb trees. Nope, no chance. By the way, remember I said coyotes could take over the wolves' territory? In addition to the breeding rate, coyotes have another advantage. They can live alone. A wolf without its pack will hardly live long. Coyotes have no idea such problems exist. Yes, they can hang out in small families, banding together somewhere in the middle of winter, but it's not a necessary condition for their survival. Coyotes do just fine on their own. Well, if they need to catch some large prey or just communicate, they can temporarily team up with unfamiliar coyotes they aren't related to. In the end, they'll survive again, even where other animals would have certainly died out. Well, you get the idea. Coyotes are pretty cool. Well, except for